everyone, welcome back to Rugby Pod. I'm Andy Ryan, Big Germ and Gertie are with me as usual. We'll be looking back on a busy weekend of international rugby, including the British and Irish Lions in South Africa and Ireland and England's opening summer fixtures. Plus, we'll be speaking with legendary former Springbok captain John Smit and brand new England skipper Lewis Ludlow on the show as well. So make sure you're subscribed to Spotify, open your cloth and enjoy. How are you, lads? How's your week been?
Good week. Jim,
you were at a farm. You were at a farm this week again, weren't you? Did see it.
We went to a different farm on Friday. Took the twins to a different farm on Friday. Yeah, went to Essex. It was a different farm, Jim. There was a load of rides for the kids. Load of different animals.
Hang on. Like, what do you mean rides at a farm?
Yeah, it was a farm park. So there was animals to feed and interact with. And then
but that's not the first thing you said. I said you went to a farm. You said yes, there was loads of rides.
Well, there was, yeah. It was a farm park, James. So we took them there on Friday, which was Old MacDonald's Farm Park. It was good fun, actually.
Old MacDonald's original, yeah.
Yeah. And then what else did we do over the weekend? Went trampolining and we went rock climbing, indoor rock climbing with the twins. Just a busy weekend, but world's getting back to normal. I booked my holiday. I've booked a holiday, Jim. I am out of this country pretty imminently to go and catch some sun rays, get the old budgie smuggler thong out, and hang by the pool with the belly hanging out, mate. I can't wait.
Dubai?
Can't wait. No, mate. Dubai is on the red list, Andy Rowe, as you probably should know, and it's a bit hot this time of year. So we're off to Mallorca.
Oh, very nice.
Found a lovely spot in Mallorca. Looking forward to
lovely
it.
spot. Tell the chavs that. Okay, sorry. I don't want to stereotype. I'm a chav myself. I'm happy to go to Mallorca, Menorca, wherever, Tenerife. Like, that is probably more me and the Covskins, really.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I said to the missus, I was like, one night I've probably got to go and, sample the local delicacies. And she goes, "What do you mean by the local delicacies?" I said, "Well,
fish bowls.
We'll go out for an early dinner. You can put the kids to bed, and then I'll go up to Magaluf, get down BCM or Alex's Bar or whatever, all the hanging places up there, get the fish bowls in, and just
there's
reenact in between us."
Good. Yeah, there's always a good Irish bar, isn't there, in these chapters? I mean, these places that are good to go on holiday. All you can eat. A 5-star is actually a 2-star. And again, look, these are the places that I love to go to. These are my go-to. Maybe not with the family anymore, but we can't go on holiday anyway this year. So twins are self-isolating again for the third or fourth time. Forgot which one it is, but yeah. So I'll be watching from afar with jealousy again, Andrew, as you go on your 7th holiday in 18 months of lockdown. There's no one else that I know who's been on holiday as much as you, even in a year. As in, not forget the year that we've had. Just in this last year, I don't know anyone who's been on holiday as much as you in a year, ever.
It's just timing, mate. It's just getting the timing right and understanding what you can and can't do by the legislation that we're living by. I'm going to Mallorca, where there's a very nice part of the island. Actually, Love Island's on at the minute, isn't it? So I might go and...
Oh, but they'd watch a bit of that.
Yeah, I might go and see if I can get in the villa. They'd love to see Derby out. Little guest intro. Get the old Derby out by the pool.
On that, though, Andrew, on the holiday stuff, there's too much admin. Like, I would definitely, something's happened along the way, but I struggle with even getting to America, like forgetting to fill in these forms. I have to fill it in before I get there. Whatever it's called, an Esther or an Etna or whatever the form's called.
Esther, yeah.
It's just too much. Like, there's too much that could happen that could go wrong to me. So I just don't bother going. There's just zero ambition at the minute. Tell me.
You just employed the nanny to do it for you, mate. She's
Pablo. Oh, is it the nanny or Pablo? Is it nanny or Pablo? Is Pablo back or not?
No, Pablo's not back, but the nanny's, she's not coming on holiday. So batten down the hatches, get in the pool, make sure there's a kids club. It's a lovely brand new hotel. So can't wait.
Jim, how was your weekend, mate? It looked like your house was flooding.
Yeah. It was rain in Scotland. Of course it was. That's as interesting as my week has gone, just taking videos out of the window as Andrew booked holidays to countdown, all right, to Menorca. On Mallorca, I'm watching the back garden flood, wishing that I had my Burberry jacket on and me Lacoste trainers. Not that I'm stereotyping that's what, countdown, we're all right, chav, you're all right, mate. That's what you need to wear to be a chav. But yeah, on my 21st birthday, our original's this. We all turned up as chavs to the Cov Colliery Club where the radiators got ripped out and the cubicles got ripped down. And the theme was Burberry. So everyone had to wear
Berbera.
But it weren't Berbera, it was more Gerbery. And that's what we liken to being a chav. Anyway, you had to be there. 21st
So when you
birthday
dress up as
party.
a chav, what are you dressing up? What are you putting on? What are you wearing? That's
Burberry.
different.
Burberry or Gerbery.
Gerbery, I like that Gerbery.
Well, I don't know what chav is these days.
Yeah, I mean, where's that coming from?
Can you say chav these days or not?
Wherever you go on holiday these days, right? So wherever you go on holiday, there's different levels, isn't there? So you can go to you can go to the all abusive hotels where there's the all you can eat buffets, or you go to the nice
what abusive.
All abusive, yeah. All the people call it all inclusive. It's basically an all abusive in there. Just drink and eat as much as you can. I ain't going to one of them, let me tell you.
You go in for lobster and you're eating crab sticks, aren't you? That's what's happening.
Yeah. Basic. Well, not crab sticks, really. Lobster, fresh lobster.
No, but that's what I mean. No, but what I'm saying is, like, you go in to the 5-star, which is actually a 2-star, and you say, "Can I have the lobster, please?" And the plate comes out, and you've got 5 crab sticks and a prawn that looks more like a toenail.
Mate, I don't know what holidays you've been going on, but they ain't the ones I go on. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Should we look at the rugby then? What did you guys make of the Lions v Lions?
It was great to see the boys on South African soil playing the first game there. Like Jim said, weird to see the stadium empty. And here's a little gripe, not a gripe, I don't know if it's a gripe or whatever it is. I reckon the warm-up games are going to be 50, 60 points pretty much for every game. Because we've got to put it in context, right? South Africa as a nation haven't played. They played their first test match since the World Cup final against Georgia on Friday night. So what they're then doing is they've got all those boys in camp. There's none of those boys going to play in any of the provincial games. And we're
Benetton beat their best team. Andrew, stop
there
it.
You go. And didn't just beat them; they pulled their pants down. So, I mean, it was a comfy victory, wasn't it? Like, it was never in question. You want these games to be competitive, but with no fans and knowing full well the state of, and I don't say that to sound too harsh, but the state of the South African provincial teams at the minute, like Jim just said, they're not overly strong. So we're going to see a build up to what is a 3-match test series where the Lions should win these games by 50, 60 points, which means that actually it's pretty hard for Warren Gatland to understand who to pick, how to pick, combinations to make. I mean, everyone pretty much played well at the weekend. Only Farrell didn't think played that well, kicked well off the tee.
Well, you just said it, but I'll put my name to it as well. He didn't play well, did he? Out of a lot of the team. Look, if we're speaking frankly, and he's a player that we've spoken up loads, it just doesn't look confident. I don't know what it is, just doesn't look himself. And I don't know what that is. Obviously, Dan Bigger played really well in his first game. Thought Finn looked really good in stages. Obviously, trying to do the kick pass. That's where the space is going to be against South Africa. And, there was a few headlines out of the game. Faz missed a couple of tackles. He was horrible to Ali Price when he hit him on the short line 3 seconds after he should have hit him. But this is what it is, isn't it? Like, these players, unfortunately, are there to be judged now by us. And they know that, not just by us, by the people that matter. And that's the Lions coaches team. That's that's Warren Gatland. Some of these players have got 1 or 2 games to put themselves in the window to be picked for a test match. And like you just said there, ultimately, in games gone by or test matches gone by, it's been a test. Even with it not being a test match, the games have been difficult, high pressure, fans, all these things. And it must be hard for some of the players. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got a lot going on in your head. Some of the players are making their debut for the first time. Some players will deal with that in different ways. And some of the lads rocked up on tour and they're not in form. So there's all these things you're throwing into the mixer. And Owen Farrell's story is one of them. And he didn't play that well at the weekend. I think it was there to see. He missed a few tackles. The ball that went over the back, he kind of half pulled out of that. And unfortunately for him, that's just the situation that he finds himself in at the minute. Only he can deal with that how he wants to deal with it. And then on the flip side of that, Hamish Watson was unbelievable. Josh Adams was unbelievable again.
Courtney Laws was big as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, Courtney Laws I thought was really good.
Jamie George.
Yeah, Jamie George was good.
But like, one of the positives was our launch plays in attack, wasn't it? And it's really hard to judge. You saw one try when the Sigma Lions, let's just be clear, the Sigma Lions, their defences were over the shop. They were just walking back, talking to each other, and then the Lions go fast over the top. There's a little play at the back of the line out, and obviously we score a try. And it was kind of weird, wasn't it? Like, it was too easy at times, and then altitude kicked in a bit, and there was a few boys sucking in the big ones. They had a bit of a play and a bit of pick and go and crash and bash, didn't quite score. But yeah, there were some good performances. I thought Chris Harris played well. Little grubber kick he put in straight away for Zamet's try was class, but he made loads of meters, made loads of tackles. He was everywhere. Hamish Watson's the big one. He was phenomenal. Like, tell the pipes on him. He's literally pulling his shirt up and getting his guns out as much as he can because they're massive. But both sides of the ball, both in defence and ball carrying and attack. And there's all these mugs out there going, "Oh, he's too small. He's this, he's that." Well, no, he's not. Like, he is a proper baller. Like, he's hard to tackle, low centre of gravity, big pipes, carries well, carries strong into the tackle, can be a nose and turnover ball. I thought both sides of the game for him as a 7, he generally kind of judged on turnovers and things like that as a 7. His link play and his actual ball carrying was phenomenal. So for me, Hamish Watson's the big player that stood out and Josh Adams, and said, "I'm a test player."
Well, the thing is with Hamish Watson, just piggybacking what you just said then, is they're the hard games to play in when you are a ball carrier or your physicality, or you're in the forwards basically, because you've got to get through a load of work against a physical team, a big team, and it's gnarly in there, isn't it? It's like you've got to come around the corner, you're picking and going, you're making tackles close to the breakdown, and to shine the way that he did. I thought, I agree, he was man of the match. Like, obviously he was. Like, a lot of people said that, but he's put his hand up in what was a comfortable performance, because I think in the lead up to that game, Tom Curry's arguably the guy with the jersey. Hamish Watson, is it a Sam Simmons on the bench? But Hamish put his hand up, and this is the whole thing. Like, the media narrative that gets built up, the lead up to the Lions, where there was talk of Hamish Watson potentially not going. Do you know what I mean? Like, in the media when people are talking about it. So his mullet looked on point, but tell his arms that. I mean, he's done what I told him to do. He basically did what I did as a player. I said, "Mate, get the smallest jersey you can, and you will look unbelievable like your mentor." And we were messaging after the game. I said, "What's the attitude like?" He said, "Just like you, Jim, vice captain." Didn't flinch. He didn't say that. He said it was tough actually to play with the attitude.
Just going back to Owen Farrell, because you guys have been talking about his form slump pretty much since the World Cup. I can't remember you guys talking about him having a good game. Do you think there's any chance that he may drop out of the starting lineup?
Off and on, and there's been some highlights and some lowlights. Obviously, tackling's a big thing, and I saw it again at the week. I don't want to be horrible. A couple of the tackles, and then he goes and misses tackle. A couple of the early tackles, he's fucking upright, swinging the shoulder again, isn't he? And then
it must be so hard for him, Goody. This is the thing, because it's his defence, and when you watch him, and when you watched him the week before, and again, it's easy to sit here and say, it's not easy tackling, especially when he's that physical in the tackle. He's going down like an aeroplane, trying to, like, that isn't where he's comfortable, but it's in his head, isn't it? Like, it's in his head. Like, he goes high, he's thinking, I'm an inch away from being a high shot, and then he's trying to go low, and he's kind of neither here nor there.
Yeah, it is tough. And I'd go back to kind of like my own experiences. And when I played at Wasps, I was awful. I couldn't bend over. Like, my belly had hit the floor, and I wouldn't be able to bend down and go like that.
No, the reason you can bend over was because of the belly. Because you.
Oh, right, okay,
It wouldn't allow you to.
Yeah. So Brad Davis, who was our defence coach at Wasps, just said to me every day, "Just hit him with your tits, Goody. Just go high and try and lock on the ball, aim for the ball, and try and create a maul to get the turnover." And that was my. He knew I was never going to be physical, but that was how he got the best out of me as a defender. Now, obviously, the game has moved on, and Owen Farrell, his massive strength 5 years previously was belting people up top and hitting them hard, where you could be a little bit borderline. But now he must be going into tackles. Now, the first couple of tackles, he's tried to stick the shoulder in. You've got to be physical against the African team. And I'm thinking, geez. And then he misses a couple where he's trying to go low, because ultimately he's trying to change a behaviour of, it's a 15-year behaviour, isn't it, that he's got ingrained into him and how to tackle. And when you play at the top level, you can't be 10% off, 5% off by thinking about a tackle, because that's where you get done, and that's where you did get done. the outside break when he down the short side, and you see the aggression in his face trying to get back because he knows he's tried to go low and got shrugged off. It's hard for him, but let's not talk about negatives. Let's talk about positives. Josh Adams, how good? He's a winger, and I love his interviews. He comes out and he said, "Oh, I see myself like a bit of a striker. You're there to score tries. You're there to score goals as a striker." And he is a coach's dream, I think, in terms of his work rate. He doesn't make errors. He's fucking hungry for the ball. He's a big, powerful lad. He'll go doing the nitty gritty, but also he's a good finisher. So
he's like an 8 out of 10 every game. 9 out of 10 every match.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen him have a bad game. Scored for Worcester, the old Pistorians. Scored for Wales. Scoring for the Lions. Like that's, and it's just one of them. You've either got it or you haven't. Do you know what I mean? And I certainly haven't. But as a winger, what do you need? You need to be able to score tries. And I think Gat said it. Like that's exactly what he does in any match that he's put in. So I think he's got I love the fact that his interviews as well. After some of the Welsh guys are quite guarded when they chat after games or whatever, and he's like, "Well, nah, I'm just doing what I do." And he's listening to the podcast. I don't know whether he listens over there. He probably is. Hi, Josh. How you doing, mate? But he was asking for us where we're in Lensbury. He listens to the podcast, and we're bigging him up. I love it.
The team's been named for the game against the Sharks on Wednesday. Can we read anything into these team selections yet?
The weird one for me is that Bigger's playing again. Now, the other weird thing for me as well, that Ian Henderson is captain. Not that Ian Henderson shouldn't be captain. And again, it's easy to sit here because Goody's being sent or been sent some cakes by Dan Bigger's lovely wife, Bigger Cakes or Biggeroo Cakes or Kangaroo. I don't know what they are. But why is Dan Bigger not captain? I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's not a thing. But also he's playing. Yeah, go on.
Hold on. You said last week the second row's got to be captain or someone hard.
Oh, did I?
And now Henderson's captain. Now Henderson's captain. You're like, why isn't Biggeroo captain? Is it because you want some cakes as well? Mrs. Bigger is definitely our favourite. She's our favourite Bigger, the way she sends out the cakes. I absolutely love it. But Henderson is, the way Courtney Lawes played. Could you play Courtney Lawes in the second row with Marrow? Marrow tells you played well, so he's going to start in the test matches. But reading stuff into it, I don't even think Warren Gatland's reading stuff into it yet. I think he did an interview saying they're not even sort of contemplating test selection yet. They're just going to see how the first few games unfold in terms of form and and combinations. And I think obviously Bigger at 10. It's not a surprise to me that he's starting again because your 310s on the tour, 2 of them played on Saturday, so you either got to ask one of them to back up. Obviously Farrell played at 12, but he was down as a 10, wasn't he? And obviously Finn Russell, you're asking him to start a game. So it's natural that Bigger starts this game. I think you read more into it in another week's time when combinations really start to get pushed together. Elliot Daly at 13 is an interesting one.
I think he looks better at 13.
He came on and did really well, didn't he? And, I've always said that's his best position. But
he ain't playing 13 though, is he? He's ahead of Henderson or Chris Harris.
Well, this is the thing. Elliot Daly's got to be for me, he's got to be in the match day 23 for the test matches.
Yeah, of course,
So, the fact he's started at 13, because of his versatility, he gets into the match day 23 test matches, his left boot, all those other things that we've spoken about before. Credit in the bank from, let's not forget the absolute humdinger penalties he nudged against New Zealand in that last test. That sticks in Gatland's mind as well. But Bundyaki at 12. Could you play Henshaw at 12 and Elliot Daly at 13 as a combination? Henshaw, I think for me, is starting in the centres in the Test series as it stands. So, you then look: do you play Henshaw at 12 and could you play Elliot Daly at 13, or is it Bundyaki and Henshaw? Even Harris at 13 and Henshaw at 12, or Farrell at 12 and Henshaw at 13. They're the combinations that you're going to start to see in a week or so's time. But it's hard to read anything into it because everyone's just getting their first shout. Obviously Curry starts this week, Navidi starts, Simmons starts in the back row as well. That it's their first games, isn't it, on the tour in terms of starts. So, Xander Fagerson at tighter prop. I thought Sinclair played pretty well. Even though our scrum wasn't overly dominant, I think he played pretty well in the loose at the weekend. So there's the beauty of it and the hard thing in the same sentence is there ain't a test team at the minute that's nailed on, is there? So there's so many opportunities for all these boys to put their best foot forward. And one bad game, and you could probably see, because it's a shorter tour, that your test chance might have gone then. But one good game, like Josh Adams, like a few of the boys at the weekend, certainly Hamish Watson cements that kind of probability that you're going to start a test match.
Well, the first test is only 2.5 weeks away, and the Springboks have finally played a test match, warming up for the series with a game against Georgia at the weekend. We can find out how their first game since the 2019 World Cup went and get all the insight into how the Springboks are tracking with their legendary former captain, John Smit. How are you, mate?
I was good, mate. How are you going?
Good, thanks. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure. I'm locked into the only room where my kids don't have access, so hopefully we don't have any altercations with kids fighting or dogs barking. So, but this is the world we live in, virtual.
I need a room like that, John. I need a room like that.
Oh, mate, he says a room, but I've been to John's house. I know you've moved since, John. It was like a palace. It wasn't a house. It was like a palace. So I reckon he's got his own house separate from the kids as well. He's got that much land and space.
A reserve.
What I will say, Goody, is that this place that I live in here in South Africa is slightly larger than the one I had in St. Albans.
I'm talking about your other one. I'm talking about your other one in Durban, but yeah, St. Albans was a nice place as well, wasn't it?
It was good. Yeah, we had some good times there.
Give us the lay of the land, mate, in South Africa, because a couple of lads I've spoken to in South Africa a few months ago were like, "Oh no, it's not too bad. It's kind of, there's stuff going on, but it's not that bad." Faf de Klerk, we had him on the podcast as well. He'd been back, I think, at some point, or he'd spoken to family. It wasn't that bad, but my goodness me, it looks and sounds bad. What's the lay of the land?
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, I just come off watching a bit of Wimbledon, and you see the crowds there, and people without masks, and it's quite. I guess it's cool to see that it will eventually get there. For us, Jim, it's just really about our inability to vaccinate fast enough. So we're in the third wave now, and it is. I suppose from a personal point of view, first sort of wave, second wave was like obviously inconvenient but I didn't know too many people that had got it, or didn't definitely know anyone that had died of COVID. This third wave seems to be a lot more real. I don't know if it's the Delta variant or whatever, but it just seems to make people get a lot sicker. And we're back to level 4 lockdown, which basically means work at home if you can. You can't cross provincial borders. So it's when we sort of back to where we were like a year ago. But it'll get better as we get vaccinated. But we really are going to take a long time to vaccinate. I mean, we're on the 50 to 59-year-olds that can register to vaccinate. So whether we get to vaccinate by the end of this year, I think will be, I guess, unknown. But yeah, this third wave's definitely been a bit messier. I mean, it was just a few days ago, we had 24,000 infections in one day, which is the highest we've ever had. But I guess it feels like it's worse than the first two waves, but I think it's just because people are frustrated. It's a year and a half, well, just almost over a year since we locked down for the first time. And I think everyone is just, there's a word in South Africa, Afrikaans called gatvol. There's just irritated and frustrated. And so following rules and lockdowns, that's becoming harder and harder. But it's pretty messy out there at the moment.
So you must have had your first job then, John. 50 to 59-year-olds, you're in for all. Skips, come on, Skips, give it to me.
You are the same model as me, brother. So you got to be careful how much you're looking at my age.
Yeah, mate, I've aged really badly. So Jim's lost all his hair on top. He's just hiding that. So I'm presuming restaurants are closed. I mean, it's hard, isn't it, for the Lions boys? And like you played in the 09 series and skippered South Africa to victory then. And yeah, the difference between a Lions tour 12 years ago and what it is at the minute, it must be really hard on South African people. It's really tough on Lions fans. I feel
for everyone, Goody. I think it's a stuff up for everyone. I mean, like I've got Jamie George living a half an hour away from me. I can't even go see the guy for a beer. Every one of those Lions, I mean, I remember the Lions, when they tour South Africa, they get out into the rural areas, they develop the game, they get to grassroots, they go on safaris, they surf. It must be an amazing experience to do it normally. No, they're locked in a hotel room, as are the Boks, and waiting for the next positive case, or waiting to sort of play the next game. I mean, I never ever thought I would ever say this, but if I suppose this would be the only time I would ever look forward to a fitness session, because you get out of your room and go outside. But it is nothing good. I mean, it's just, there's no Red Army. I mean, our restaurants are all closed in level 4 anyway, but I mean, I'll never forget that first test in 09. The Red Army emptied Durban. There wasn't a beer left in the town by 2:00 in the morning. It was just one of those nights, just insane. All of those experiences that make a Lions series just are not there. It's, it's going to be in this eerie, empty stadium, and the only thing that is to play for is the results. And I think that these series are so much more than just the results, even though that's all we will talk about. But it's so much more than just the rugby.
Let's just talk about a couple more negatives as well. You mentioned the Sea of Red, the Red Army emptied the stadiums. I don't know if you saw, but the Lions' first game against Japan, all 12,000 of the Red Army emptied the stadium's beer before half-time, apparently. So that's how thirsty human beings are at the minute. But just on the other negative, Lou Diego, I'm sure they have to keep players' names secret, but his name is out there that he's got COVID. Obviously, we hope he's okay. But how difficult is it now, the fact that it is rife in South Africa? Lads are coming from different areas. The Lions are in this tight bubble where they cannot leave their rooms, apparently. How's the South African team dealing with it, with players coming in, and obviously, whether they've been out and about seeing family, or are they locked down? Is it watertight?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's quite bizarre that Lutz tested positive, because cheapers, they are in. I mean, just the Sharks team alone, Jim, they've been in a bubble, living in a hotel for the last 8 days just to play this game on Wednesday night, so, and there's obviously PCR tests being done every day and that. So I am quite surprised that he has tested positive. It must have been something that he got before the bubble. I don't know. I got the best advice I got about COVID was from my doctor. I got COVID about 2 months ago, and getting up in my medical afterwards, the doctor said, look, if there's no doctor in the world that can actually tell you that he knows what's going on. And that's the thing, it's so unpredictable. So it's not ideal. He's fighting time from an injury point of view. So this sort of puts him in doubt. Now we got to see whether or not he's infected him around him. I mean, it's a disaster. I mean, I'm watching these players locked up in hotel rooms playing Jenga. It's just not natural. It's not natural. Jenga should involve at least a couple of pints of beer. There should be penalties. They can't even do that.
John, given what's going on at the moment, is there any part of you that thinks that maybe it would have been a good idea to have it in the UK?
I do think so. I think that it would have. I mean, look, I'll never forget running out in Durban. I felt like I was running out of Twickenham. It took me by surprise, to be fair. I thought I'd get some comfort out of running out of my home stadium, but it was just the most intense roar from this Red Army. So yeah, I mean, I suppose you can never plan around the third wave coming at this time, and there probably were positives. If we look at what's happening with sport and in football and tennis and what's happening over there your side, yeah, there probably would have been merit to try and make a better plan. But the commercial complexities of a series like this are far-reaching that we would never be able to understand in totality. So they're here. We just need to make sure that we make it work, and that these are 3 incredible test matches.
Yeah, there will be. And Luke Diago's obviously picked up COVID. The French boys in the Six Nations went out for waffles and broke the bubble and all this stuff. Has he been for waffles? That's all I need to know. Has he been for waffles somewhere?
Looking at him, he eats waffles, I think. I don't want to stereotype a man, but he looks like he would eat a waffle or 10.
Oh, man, I'm just glad I don't have to break out for a waffle. Yeah, but mate, I've seen some of these protocols. You've literally got to be Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible to get a waffle on the sly. It's tough, but how tight can you make a bubble? I mean, you're staying in the same hotel. There's still people cooking, and there's still people cleaning, and there's still people at the hotel. There's staff. I don't know. Goody, I'm just as horrible as it is to talk about it. I'm just very glad that I don't have to apply my trade as a professional sportsman in this day and age. Can you imagine how do they get balanced? How do they break away? How do they go for a beer or a coffee or go see a school friend? Or it's just the same. I mean, can you imagine having gym every single day?
It will be like the kids.
I do get it most days, to be fair. It's hard work.
Yeah. It will be like the kids fighting over Jenga bricks, though, wouldn't it? When the kids, like, as in who's knocked over the tower, that's as banterful as it will get, like, as in a full-on scrap over who's knocked over the Jenga tower. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, look, the fact that they're there and they're healthy and all these things, I suppose there are some positives. And as I said, like the Premiership and the Six Nations with no fans was brilliant. You know what I mean? I know the Premiership had some fans towards the end, but I think we're all building and hope that we get up to these test matches. Where are they going to be played, John? There's talk of them all being in Cape Town. Can you see a couple of them being in Joburg as planned? I mean, you're the oracle here. Hit us.
Look, I do sit on the council for SA Rugby as well. So, and there's been no talk about any changes. And I think why there hasn't been, and we've actually got a council meeting tomorrow, but why there hasn't been talk about it, I think, is purely because of the logistical nightmare and the cost there is involved in creating a bubble. Whether that bubble now being compromised by Ludlow makes a change, I think, what happened was in the first wave or two, Gauteng actually wasn't as badly affected as all the others. I mean, the others, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, they got hit really, really hard. So it almost feels like there's a sort of a better herd immunity type of vibe going on outside of Gauteng, and now Gauteng is like the sort of mothership of COVID-19 in South Africa. So I think that's probably the thinking behind moving more of the games to the Cape. But the cost involved in recreating a bubble for all of the teams involved, because remember, it's the provincial and franchise teams that have to stay in a bubble outside of their own town, as well as just the Springboks who are already in a bubble. So it's 3 camps. And so to change 3 camps on short notice is going to be a massive issue.
And I think the other thing let's talk all like Ruggers then, because obviously with the South Africans, they've played 1 test match on Friday night against Georgia, the first time since they played in the World Cup. How difficult is it for them as well, not only coping with this bubble scenario, but the fact they haven't played for a couple of years really together? There's been a change at the top. Is Rassie Erasmus, is he still a bit hands-on-y, although his role's changed? I know Niambar is obviously the gaffer now, but is he still involved? Are you going to see many changes, or is it going to be much of the same of what we saw at the World Cup that was so successful?
I do not think you'll see much different. It'll be the same approach, the same strategy. The culture's the same. Jacques Nienaber has been with Rassie for the last good part of a decade. Their philosophies go hand in hand. In fact, I would say Jacques is probably, he's a disciple of sort of Rassie's way and the culture that's created and how you play. They're both extremely dedicated to work off the field and doing their homework and analysis and stats. And they really are. They put in a huge amount. The entire coaching staff, I can tell you, I don't think those guys go for too many coffees and beers, because there's just a huge amount of work that they're always putting in to make sure that the players have got everything. So the good part about it is that they haven't played in over 600 days. They've been unbeaten. They haven't had the chance to fall off form. They haven't had the chance to rest on their laurels as world champions. They've literally come out of winning a World Cup 2 years ago into the biggest test series that there still is in the modern game. And so the intensity and the importance of that, I think, is certainly hit home. And they won't deviate much from how they play. I think we saw, this last Friday against Georgia, it's just, they're so, you're not ever going to get too many surprises from playing a Springbok team, but it was just incredible. Nothing to poles, everything to the corner, every drive the same, only 2 variations as to where they threw the ball for the drive, try to take as many scrums as they could. It was a glorified training game that they just played to get themselves back into some kind of rhythm. The defense, was obviously big around, but you could see nothing. So you don't know whether they're going to change anything, but the chances are they don't have enough time. And they've got a group that's still young enough to be able to compete, that won the World Cup 2 years ago. So time will tell. I think you boys have had enough. You've had a way more exposure at a test level, which is an intensity thing. And that, I think, will be the difference between whether or not the Springboks can bring that intensity, that physicality that they're so renowned for, whether they can manufacture that after 2 warm-up games against Georgia.
Let's go back to the memories of 2009 then, Barney, because ultimately, that apart from winning the World Cup, you said it earlier, it's the next biggest kind of test series. And for a South African and Australian or New Zealander to beat the Lions in a series and skipper the Lions must be up there with, just after winning the World Cup. For you, for the country, how good was it?
A couple of things that stood out for me, Goody. It's a massive thing here, every 12 years. And it sort of hit home when we had quite a few of the squad from 97, the Boks team that lost the series 12 years ago, come and address us and chat to us. And the thing that hit home there was, like, they were world champions. They had the same opportunity to try and leave a legacy of going back to back with the World Cup and Lions series. And their regret and their disappointment of you only get one chance. I mean, and it doesn't sink in until you're actually in that position. You think, okay, a couple of us had come back from overseas, Monty, myself, Victor. We'd come to be a part of history, really, because Peter de Villiers was the first coach of color. And he asked us to come back and sort of fight the cause and keep Springbok rugby going well and try and bring this series home. So the motivation was massive, but then to hear it from someone who's been there, you can hear that burning sensation of emotion in their voice when they talk about how it got away from them and they lost the series 2-1. So that sort of struck home. Running out, like I mentioned, at Kings Park to that sea of red and that noise, that was something to behold. And the intensity of the matches. I mean, and I know this is always cliche because, the Springboks are always physical but that second test match in Pretoria was the most physical game I've ever played. Your body always hurts to a degree, but it was a roller coaster of emotion and the sort of scoreline and the hits and the pace of the game. Yeah, it was difficult. We'd spent the whole week practicing to play quickly and then from the kickoff, Schalk got Sinbin. So then we had to slow everything down. Couldn't get out of that lull. So that test match goes down as probably the most enjoyable that I've been a part of.
And then when you were in 2009, I know the game's different now to 97, where it was, we saw the midweek matches. Do you know what I mean? The physicality and how old school, I think, is probably a polite way to put it, in the lead up to the test matches. Was there anyone that frightened you in the lead up to that? Because I suppose, and it brings me on to the next question around this squad. When you look at the profile of the team and everything that was said around Alan Wynne-Jones, I know he's injured now, but he'd be in his getting off the plane with a Zimmer frame. He's that old and can't do it anymore. But in 2009, when that Lions team came down, was there anyone that? Because I suppose not when you're scared, but when up front, where you're like, yeah. When I was up against Bacchus Botha, it made me rise to the challenge and just outperform the man week on week. But
for me, Jim,
was there anyone?
I mean, the thing that sort of doubled up on my nervousness for that and the anxiety for that, it wasn't just being captain, but I'd moved to tight for the first time in ages. So I was playing out of position, and and it was Andy Sheridan had just beaten us up so many times, like in the scrum for England against South Africa. And I'll be honest with you, there was a large part of me that was relieved when the first test team was announced and Sheridan wasn't starting at loosehead, because I sort of felt like that would have been a much tougher task for me to face. So I had my eye on him. And then Shorzy was also, Shorzy's been an incredibly influential line. He just seems to bring something different to a pack of forwards. And so when they left him out as well, the first test, that was also, a pretty big relief as well. So, but, every single thing about the Lions is around, and that's the thing, it's about rhythm. How fast can the Lions find a rhythm that suits them to get success? And they actually started picking up some of that rhythm in that first test in Durban. And how quickly can the home team of either South Africa, New Zealand, or Australia get ahead and try and get that first sort of test win? Because that really is what the series, I think, hinges on, is whether or not South Africa can win that first test. Because to go one down against a team that's only going to get better as the series unfolds, as history's shown, is pretty tricky.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the big things that people perhaps aren't looking at yet, but around the test series, as it stands, there's two of them going to be played at altitude, and that will have a massive difference, won't it? Do you think that's a massive advantage to South Africa, even though a lot of the boys are playing over in Europe where they're not used to the altitude? Will they just kick back into it if those games go ahead as planned?
Giddy, you would have noticed. I mean, any game up in the half Pretoria, Joburg, that it's a factor whether you playing a local derby from Durban or Cape Town, but there's that burn in your throat that you just it's not something you can prepare for. And
John,
so
let's remember,
that was my Marlboro Mentos. That's my Marlboro Mentos. Was that what it was? Oh, I thought it was just the quick tap on the way out.
Judy and I, we used to get that feeling in the warm up.
I'll never forget all the lads told me before my first game up at Joburg. They were like, mate, get a full burn on in the warm up so you get used to it. And I've started and I've thought, mate, I'll go out for a warm up, I'll waddle out, I'll do a few kicks, and then I'd do a bit of a team run and jog in. And I tried to do a 50-meter sprint. When I say sprint, it was like a fast, fat shuffle. I was blowing out my arse. I was like, lads, this is me. I can't do much more of this. But yeah, it's a massive factor in it.
It is a factor. I mean, you just look at if the stats about which stadiums have got the best win rates, and Ellis Park and FNB in Soweto, those two stadiums. I mean, it's very difficult to win there if you're the visiting team.
Anyone in this Lion squad you like the look of, John? I mean, do you watch it or not? I mean, what's the script there? I mean, in the lead up to it, and I know we spoke a few weeks ago, but the kind of romance and the big build up to the tour. But is there anyone that in the media down in South Africa that they're worried about, like Maro Itoje, for example? We'd said that to Ebenezer and he didn't flinch. Of course he didn't.
I think there's a couple actually, and you know, a lot of the talk here, Jim, is really around, and it's almost like a carbon copy of what happened in 2009, where it was all based on the fact that the Lions were going to absolutely just destroy us in the scrum because I was playing out of position and Beast was a youngster, and a lot of the talk is around who they're going to choose in the front row, especially on the loose head. So
it's so old school, that is, isn't it? Like, that is such an, I mean, it's a South African thing, isn't it? Because no one here has spoken about who's going to be starting loose head or up front, really. It's all around the wingers, it's all around 10, it's all around the centre. No one is speaking about who the loose head will be. Isn't it? Like, it just shows you the contrast there. Maybe that's to our demise, maybe.
Well, look, I think it's going to be a massive factor. I don't think that we'll see the kind of result that South Africa were able to get in Tokyo against an English pack. I mean, there was a lot of, I mean, Sinclair going down early. I mean, you can't really plan for that. But a lot of the talk is around what's going to happen up front. And you can see just from what South Africa did on Friday with Georgia, what their focus is currently. You know, they're going in stages, and the first box to tick is set piece, line out drives, being able to drive and obviously stop the drive. But it's, I mean, I'm trying to think if I was Gatlin, it's going to be tricky to pick. I mean, you guys, you help me out here, but he looks like he's undecided at 10, but he's fixed on Faz at 12. So, but it doesn't look
Bundyaki. Bundyaki might play 12.
Yeah. And then
player physical.
So
Farrell on the bench, maybe.
And again, I mean, they actually looked at Lions backline looked pretty sleek with Finn Russell at 10. This in this first outing. So then you've got the problem of your back three. You've got so many good wingers and two fullbacks in that are really in top form. It's tough. I mean, I think Gatlin's got a tougher job selecting and getting selection right, the balance right for the kind of team that he knows will be able to beat South Africa. Whereas Jacques Nienaber and Rassi are probably going to try and get as close to that team from Tokyo 2 years ago as possible.
Yeah, it's going to be entertaining there. I love the way that John's just talking about scrums and it's all about set piece.
I'm nodding. I'm about to run through that wall.
Jim's nodding, and we're just thinking about how many finishes we've got on the edge. So it's just the contrast is stark, isn't it? You know, the way people look at it, and you forget the what's meat and drink to South African boys is set piece, hard running, simple rugby, but it's damn hard to stop, isn't it?
Really, the other thing that you must take a look at next time you see any South African team really currently at the moment, but specifically the Springboks, and you'll only get to watch them again. But the reason why you could spend a large part of your time thinking about who the most exciting finisher is on left or right wing, but South Africans make every single ruck. They make it a nightmare. There's no ruck where you just send one guy in and it's quick ball. It's like Damien Willemse, he came off the bench, and he's a skinny little running at 12 at the time, but he's counter-rucking tight 5 guys, and he's just, every ruck is an absolute irritation and frustration. Amen. And you can't not acknowledge that. So you then have to add another number, and every number you add to try and get a ball back means that there's just less chance, and there's less fast ball coming to these guys that you're spending hours and hours thinking about how they're going to finish in the corner. So we're a horrible team to play, because you just don't get any free rucks. You get nothing. You've got to work for every single quick ball. And I don't think I haven't seen a team get 3 quick, fast phase balls in a row for quite some time. And that's the difficulty about trying to play an attacking brand of rugby against South Africa, is because to play an attacking game, you've got to have width and numbers. And to have those numbers, you can't afford to send 3-4 guys into every ruck. And that's the tricky part.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been awesome. Hopefully you can get out of your bubble at some point and enjoy the rugby. But thank you very much for coming on. Pleasure, boys.
Top lad.
Yeah. That is my skipper, mate. That is my skipper right there.
Mine too.
Yeah, you said it yourself, Jim. You were ready to run through the brick wall. But what a lovely bloke. He's won everything there is to win the game. He's so down to earth as well. And he's held in such high esteem in South Africa. So I love my time at the Sharks playing underneath it. He's won the World Cup in 07, then he beat the Lions in 09, and then 6 months later, Armies fly off. I mean, how do you go back up from the depths of winning the series against the Lions, then looking over and Armies fly off for the Sharks? Just embarrassing for him, poor bloke.
How your story is so different to mine, and I didn't want to open him up on it because he might not have remembered it, but this is my truth. In Hong Kong, he is drinking Das Booty Scooter that I have had on for 3 days solid, and he's drinking it in Joe Bananas. I am screaming, "Das is the Booty Scooter!" The place is erupting, thinking I'm an absolute legend, and he's buffaloed it, lads. He's buffaloed the Das Booty Scooter, and he's gone again. He has gone again, and I was like, I am your captain now, and you are now my vice captain, and you have earned the right for us to stay here and dance all night. What a lovely bloke.
Yeah, he's a top boy.
The Lions in South Africa weren't the only international teams in action on the weekend. A pretty strong-looking island side took on Japan in Dublin. It was close, wasn't it, lads?
Squeaky bums. It was squeaky. I tweeted it, of course I did, because that's what you do to try and build a following. And I meant it with what I said. Japan, second favourite team. They're a joy to watch. And we saw in the second half against the Lions, and they hadn't played since the World Cup. Let's not remember, in the build-up to that game. And the second half, they peeled back and they looked really good. And I was worried for Ireland in the lead-up to that game. And attack, their contact skills, the way they clean breakdowns. This is the thing. After the World Cup in 2019, and again, because the world has been how it's been, I was most excited for the Japan team to step up to the next level, whether that be in the championship. There was talk of the Six Nations. Do you know what I mean? All these things about trying to get Japan in one of these big competitions. But I love watching them play. And I don't know, I can't make out whether it's because Ireland weren't that great or whether Japan was so good. It's probably a little bit, but it was tough for Ireland as well. They're missing, obviously, the backbone of their best players. The whole narrative around James Ryan, was he going to be fit? Because there was talk that he didn't go on the Lions tour because he wasn't fit. And then he was fit, and then he was captain. I mean, Ryan Beard, I thought, was outstanding for Ireland at the weekend. It's a difficult one to look at, that one, because I think when there's so many tries scored, sometimes it's more difficult to analyse on both teams. You know, defences, were they poor? You know, were the attacks good?
I thought it was a decent ding dong, wasn't it? Both teams put width on it at the right times, and there were a few errors, of course there were. But that's the thing you say about Japan, and you go back. How mad is it? 2019 World Cup, Japan, who spanked Scotland, they beat Ireland. You know, they get to the quarters, and then you sat there thinking, like Jim said, it's an opportunity for them to take off, and they're stuck in the middle, really, aren't they? Because where do they sit? They're now a proper international team. You make a quarterfinals of the World Cup, beating Ireland and Scotland on the way to that quarterfinal, and it's not a flash in the pan. So it's not like you've got an easy group and you've qualified. You've beaten 2 tier 1 nations to get there, and you deserve to be there. Yet, you know, England come back and all the Northern Hemisphere teams come back, and we've got the Six Nations, the Rugby Championship is what it is when it's on and COVID hits. It's a really interesting one, isn't it, for where they're going to sit moving forward? Because they could play a Pacific Nations tournament, but they're too. Sounds really bad to say this, but they're too good for that now. The level they're at, because they've shot up. Whereas you saw Tonga. I know Tonga didn't have their strongest team out the weekend, but they're so far behind now. So it's you need them to be on a platform, Japan, where they can continue to improve and play in a legitimate top tier tournament. Which there's only 2 in the world internationally, and that's obviously the Rugby Championship and the Six Nations. So where do they sit? But they're an exciting team to watch, aren't they? Some of the players. I love the way they play. They're foot to the metal, ready to go at any point, and the intensity they attack with, and the effort that they're putting in, it's a whole different level to where the teams previously have been. So hopefully they can continue to grow, and they'll constantly be a threat at World Cup time. But they do need something in between, a decent level competition to try and improve themselves even better.
And Gertie, what do you make of England's performance against the USA on Independence Day?
Independence Day, how good. It was really good to see 12 new caps. Some of the names aren't household names to a lot of the England fans, because let's not forget, England fans don't necessarily all support the club teams. You get the fans that just come out for test matches and Six Nations and autumn internationals. So seeing some of the young lads come through, some of the debuts, obviously Marcus Smith is a big name. Harry Randall starts and gets man of the match on debut. Some really exciting talent. We started the game really well. Joe Cock and the Singer, Cock and the Seagull, call him what you will. He looks to the man of born in terms of an international winger when he's got the ball in space. He's had a few injuries since the World Cup, but he's bounced back.
Do you think he can kick on? Because in terms of his profile, and I mean that in size as opposed to social media following, like you think he is, and again, you get these comparables to Jonah Lomu and Julian Surveyor and these kind of big, powerful wingers. I've not seen enough of him yet to be like, right, he can kick on. It looks like he's got all the attributes, but how bad does he want it? And I'm not questioning that. I'm asking the question in terms of.
I get you what you say. He's
looking for work.
Yeah, he's quite young. He's burst onto the scene as this big unit that. He went to the 2019 World Cup and he was a left field kind of selection, wasn't he? Then he's come back from the World Cup and he's had a load of injuries off the back of that. So, what he's got to do is be consistent week in, week out, and be hungry, be like Anthony Watson, go and looking for the ball, go and looking to impose yourself physically, a Jack Noel kind of thing. So it's repetitive performances like that he needs. And, listening to Stuart Hooper's arousing speech might not get him up for a game, but that's to be an international star winger. We spoke about Jack Adams earlier. He's always an 8 and 9 out of 10, isn't he? And that's where Cock and the Singer's got to be. We know he's got the X factor because of his size and his power and his speed through contact, but you've got to be at the top level week in, week out, which international wingers are, because you get exposed quickly if you're not, especially on the ding-a-ling-a-ling with the kicking games that are going on in international rugby now. So for England, it was really good to start off with. We lost the second half, 26-17. I said it before the game, like the look of the England squad, young, exciting. I tweeted about it. But Eddie Jones, why are you going to a 6-2 bench against USA? Like 6-2 benches for me are so archaic and so backwards thinking, it's going to be a really tough forward orientated. Just have 5-3. He's gone into an international game with Jacob Umunga and Dan Robson on the bench, covering the whole of the back line. And Dan Robson ends up playing a big stint on the wing, did well for a 9 that isn't a winger, but plays on the wing. And the second half derailed a little bit. Fair play to the USA. They haven't played any rugby, I don't think, since the World Cup either. So it was literally their first get together. So it was, they got some cohesion. Physically, they were imposing themselves on us in the second half. But it was good for England. I think Eddie Jones will be a bit frustrated, mainly with himself for going a 6-2 bench. And I know he listens.
Maybe John Smit got in his ear. Maybe John Smit got in his ear, and then forwards, old school.
But if you're playing South Africa, you can make a case for going 6-2 on the bench. You're playing the USA. The sun's out, the guns are out, my gut was out. Everything was there for running rugby. And, I think that'll be a frustration for Eddie. And I know he listens to the podcast, so Eddie's going to change it this week and go a 5-3 bench, I'm sure. But yeah, it was some of the young kids getting the experience playing international rugby. Callum Chick at Newcastle. When I was playing at Newcastle, he was just coming through the under-20s. And
he was just a chick, weren't he?
He was just a chick, Callum Chick. Joe Hayes at tight head prop, he's got a massive future, behind the likes of Sinclair, in years to come. But it's
Freddie
a good
Stewart.
starting point. Freddie Stewart, they've shown international. What I love is all these boys that have been capped and are playing have shown class in the Premiership this year. And up until now, and we'll never know, would Eddie Jones have given them this opportunity. And we'll see it in November, won't we? Hopefully, we have another big performance next weekend against Canada. The likes of Harry Randall, Marcus Smith, they're the boys that are doing it week in, week out in the Prem. And, we want to see more of them in international jerseys. So it was positive with work-ons.
Well, we can have a chat with a man who not only made his England debut at the weekend, but also captained them as well. Gloucester and England captain Lewis Ludlow joins us. Hi, Lewis.
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
How are you feeling now, mate? Obviously, it's been a bit of a whirlwind or not? How's it been, the build-up? Because I'm obviously a Gloucester fan because my uncle Hamish said I'm one of the greatest Gloucester captains to have ever done it. So I keep an eye on Goody's face. I keep an eye on the team. So I've been watching your kind of evolution, and I don't know, I kind of felt that you're always good enough to make that next step, but could you have been a player that might not have made that next step because there is so many back rows in your position? I'm just glad personally that you've been recognised, and also as skips as well. I'm rambling a bit. Tell us how you're feeling.
The best weekend of his life, and you've been horrible.
I know, yeah, but that's what I mean. I'm building it up. I'm building it up because it's like I've known young Lewis since he was a young lad. Do you know what I mean? I'm watching you from afar, watching you do it, and not just doing the job, but like carving up. And then watching you with the white shirt at the weekend, it was a proud moment for me as well. I've been part of the journey, mate. But how was it? It's not about me, it's about you.
It was mad. It was completely mental, like the whole thing. When I got asked to captain England A last week, that was like a huge honour for me, like being able to just get that going. And obviously, unfortunately, the game got cancelled. But then this week, when it was like, oh, you're going to be doing this, and then I got told that I was like the 5th person to ever do it and stuff like that. It was all just like sitting in bed last night, just thinking, as this actually happened, like look at my cap and my shirt, and I was just like, this is, like you say, there's so many back rowers out there that you could probably name 20 back rowers on their own that could all play for England at the moment. So to be recognised as one of those, it was a huge day for me yesterday.
Yeah, it's massive, mate. And, to get it on your debut as well is even bigger. I think Nigel Melville was the last guy in 1984.
Yeah.
Was that you were born, Jim, 1984?
Let's just say it was. I'll be happy to put my name to that.
Tell us about the conversation with Eddie then, because we know Eddie's a bit of a character. We know actually that he winds some of the boys up as well at times and has them on hook a little bit. How did the conversation go when he named you as captain?
So there's plenty of that. I was actually we got sent home the Sunday after the Scotland game. We had like an internal game on the Saturday, and then sent home for the day, which was quite nice. I was just out for breakfast with my missus and kid, and he rang me up and was like, I'm thinking of doing this. I was like, just couldn't speak, couldn't finish my breakfast, was completely gobsmacked. But it's always like, it's never, obviously nothing's ever guaranteed in rugby. You guys know what it's like. You've still got to train well enough that week in order to get in the actual team yourself. We're up here with 6 back rowers that could all play in that team. So it's still a huge amount of pressure and all that stuff. But you have to then sort of put that aside and be the leader as well. That there's not many leaders up here. We've actually got quite a cool leadership group between us up here, and we've tried to make things a bit different. We've had quizzes every week. We're trying to go out for food and stuff as much as we can with the COVID situation, but we just tried to be like a real cool environment with everyone's enjoying each other's company. I think it's gone really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not, let's just talk about the quality of back row, just to name some. Obviously, Tom Curry's brother, Ben, also known as Ben Curry, who is brothers with Tom, the other way around. Sam Underhill, obviously Don Brandt, Kenningham, Lewis Ludlow, and obviously yourself in that mix as well. What kind of captain are you around these people? Because you look at like Sam Underhill, for example, and the experience that he's got, and he can't have been that far away from the Lions. Is it a case of when you get named as captain, it's like, right, you've just got to be yourself, you you try and up your game a little bit more? Like, what kind of a captain are you?
I try and lead from the front. Like I won't ask anyone to do anything if I don't think I can do it. If I try and get my game sorted, if I'm working my hardest and things are going well for me, then hopefully that works for the team. And I think something I have learned is to be calm in certain situations. You have people in your team that are good at the emotional stuff, and there's times when I get emotional and stuff like that. But then there's also times where you have to be that sort of level-headedness, which I definitely didn't have earlier on in my career. But that's probably there now. And then just try and have as much control over the team as possible, but not just yourself. Try and have the right generals in the right places. On Saturday we had the likes of Ellis, Slady, Marcus Smith, all doing their different parts on the pitch. So it made captaining quite easy, to be fair. When you've got guys like that around you, the actual decision making and stuff becomes quite easy.
I love what you said then, because you've obviously learned the hard way from being captained by Jim Hamilton. You're basically doing the opposite of what he did, because you said lead from the front and don't ask other people what you wouldn't do yourself. Jim was like, lads, I can't catch, I can't pass. Can you make all the passes and catches and all that sort of stuff? So
I can't train. There's no more left in the well. I remember those conversations.
It's a well-trodden path hearing about Jim's career, isn't it? And you kind of learn what not to do. So, Jim, you've played a valuable part in Lewis's sort of growth into being England captain. What was Jim like as a captain? That's what I need to know. Because how bad was he? Come on, just spill the beans.
No. I still remember my first day. He actually took a swing at me, so I still remember that as
fucking hell, Jim. Horrible.
I remember it as well.
We were playing the Con Games, and the loser had to go on the famous Hartbury Hill, which was obviously minging. And I didn't want to lose. The very competitive person pulled Jim's bib back as he did that. This very, very long left lever came towards me. I think I ducked out of the way of it, to be fair. And then Jim apologised in the ice bath afterwards, which was quite nice.
There you go. So I just leading from the front. All I know, you failed to mention, Lewis, the build-up. That was the line that was going to win the try for my team. Therefore, it
was a winning line. Yeah.
It was an unbelievable line. Let's be honest. Well, let's talk a little bit about Gloucester.
Missed you out today, Jim.
Well, it was a line. Well, exactly. I run at the youngest lad in the team, which was Lewis. Let's just talk about your apprenticeship at Gloucester. It's a team that obviously is close to my heart. Me and Goody have had many chats on here about the kind of story that the club has gone through, the ups and downs, probably more downs than ups. It seems now there's a real balance across the squad, the energy, the vibe, the new training ground that's going in. Obviously, my best mate, the Slug's now the team manager, and adding to that. But what's it like? Because, you've been there from a young lad. Like, when you were there was high points. Like, we finished second, should have, could have, would have beaten Saracens in the semis if it wasn't for the ref. Then we lose the coaches, and, then a new set of coaches come in. We think under Johan Ackerman, everything's going well, and then it's not. Then he leaves, and then, Sips leaves, and all of a sudden it's kind of like a load of pieces to pick up, which seem to have been picked up now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The last year has been pretty mental, to go through everything from, I think it was 15 players we lost, all the coaches went, and then for everything to come in and change. And I think just credit to the players that are still there now and were there this year, and the coaching staff that came in, the way that everyone just, it could have quite easily been, down tools, we'll sack this off, or we're going to go in our different directions, but everyone really brought into it. I was shocked when Skivs announced me as captain to everyone, and it was just like, we're going to do this sort of this way, and if you don't like it, then you're going to go. And to be fair, 99% of people have said, yeah, I'm on this train. I fancy going where this is going, and then that's all, culminating in what Brownie's done behind the scenes. Brownie yourself real well. Like, he doesn't do anything unless it's the right thing to do. So the way the new training base is going, the signings we're making, all that sort of stuff, I think it's only a positive thing for Gloucester now, and we could and should go a lot further at the table in years to come.
It's a crazy season really for you, isn't it? That's not crazy in the sense of believing in yourself, but you get named Gloucester captain, and like you said, then it was a bit of a surprise to you, and then obviously England captain. But that's a testament to you, yourself, and what you bring into an environment, and how you carry yourself and perform on the field. To an outsider like myself, now I'm looking at it going, well, he's captain England last week. He's definitely captain again this week and playing well. Is Eddie keeping you on your toes? Have you been confirmed as captain again this week? Is it something that you
nothing's been confirmed. We've got a short turnaround, so we only got Tuesday, Wednesday training, so two big double days for us. And he just said in the team meeting then, to be fair, that from the end of our game training last week to team selection, he made 5 changes. So it's that type of thing that you're never quite confirmed. You never, as each training session you've got to be in there, and we spoke about it then. I spoke about at the end of the meeting. You've got to be in the moment this week in training. This is the last week of the season for us boys that have done pretty much a double season. If you be in the moment for this last 5 days, and then you go out there and what will be will be. The selection is one man's opinion. You can't change that, but you can change how you react around players, how you react around the squad, around the bubble, etc. If you put your best foot forward, be in that moment for the last 5 days, and you'll have a good week.
Yeah, absolutely. Lewis, before you go, I need to ask, because I'm watching it all unfold. The beard, right? Now, I do enjoy a beard. I wouldn't say I have beard envy of you yet. Where's the tash? Is it like, are you purposely not growing the tash out as well? Or
no,
is it
the tash just doesn't grow very well. I get a real good sort of chin beard, and it gets to a certain length. Like before camp, it was bushy, and I had to get rid of that. My missus was not happy. So you can't go up there looking like that. So it's trying to stay at this length, but then the little tash bit just doesn't. It's just not there.
Keep shaving it. It grows back. Shave it, grows back.
I think it looks designer. I think it's great. Jim's got a big slug on his top lip, but mate, you're looking pretty good as England skips, mate. Hell of a season. Decent beard on him. Shaved the lid. Straight down to the caravan after smashing Canada this weekend. Love it.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Gertie. Thanks, producer Tim. And thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube and head on over to Spotify, and we'll see you there.